All right.
Hello.
Hello.
We're back.
Yep.
This is episode 24.
Yeah.
Boop, beep, boop, beep.
Oh, my.
That's coming back.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
We'll talk about things that are coming back.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, this is episode 24.
Of what?
Of the Fill in the Blank podcast.
Life after film school.
That's right. Forgot about that. I'm Greg.
I'm Austin.
Welcome. Okay. I got a bone to pick with the internet.
Oh.
Specifically,
Whoa.
the internet listeners of this program.
All right.
Who do you think you are?
Where do you get off?
Yeah. Trying to give you free stuff, and you won't take it.
I pour my heart and soul out for you, including trying to give you free stuff.
Just trying to give you a free
movie
movie
ticket.
ticket.
Give you something.
It's not like I'm just trying to give it to you, and you won't even let me do that.
Yeah.
Making it really hard.
Like I don't even know who you are anymore.
Yeah. I
You
thought
used
you were
to be
my
cool.
friend.
Yeah. You've changed.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
All you have to do
is say something.
Just say any. At this point,
right?
You could just be like poopy pile, and I'll be like, "That's the
winner."
That's the winner
because that's the only one we have.
Poopy pile is the answer to the contest.
Yeah.
If you don't know what we're talking about, then go to facebook.com/FITB Podcast and find out about the contest.
Yes.
Which at this point, just like last time, requires only one person to enter.
Exactly.
For there to be a winner.
Mm-hmm.
If more than one person enters, then your odds are slightly less of winning.
But that's not going to happen, so just write something down.
Just somebody write something down.
Yeah.
Because
Say
the next
something.
episode, the winner will be revealed.
I'm giving up on you.
Those weren't even words that came out of my mouth just now.
No.
I was just like, the next episode, rah.
Yeah, I heard that.
The winner will be revealed.
Yes.
And it could be no one.
It could be no one.
We could reveal
it could
that
be
no one has won.
Greg and I are going to the movies.
We're going to go to the movies on us.
Yeah. Which,
that's what I usually do, so it's really not as exciting if
it really isn't.
Happens.
Does that sound like something that will be fun for you to hear about? I don't think so.
That's dumb.
Wouldn't you rather hear about the fact that you're going to the movies on us?
That's what I would want to do.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. I don't know. Just really kind of sad about it, really.
Yeah, I'm
can't take an extra 10 seconds to
that's all it would take.
not asking you to write the script or
no, you don't have to produce the movie.
Put in a lot of effort here. Try to make this easy, and fun. I guess it's not. So, anyways, whatever. If you guys don't want free movie tickets, that's not my problem. I'm not gonna make you have them. You just made Austin cry. He's just crying now. I hope you guys are happy. But then my other bone to pick with the internet.
Oh, okay. You have another one?
Yeah, I have another bone.
Is this still with our listeners?
No, this is not with our listeners.
All
this
right.
is with companies, businesses.
We haven't forgotten about you folks, but we're moving on.
This is with business.
Oh.
Have you ever tried to use one of these like you're like, I need help with something, and they have like the live chat?
Oh, yes.
What a crock of What a giant waste of my time.
You don't like that, huh?
No. They're stupid. Like, I just went on one over the weekend. We got a futon that we're currently sitting on.
Yeah.
And there was no instructions. Which is okay, that's a problem number one, but whatever, that happens. Especially when, like...
Was it just in pieces? Like
you had to assemble the whole thing.
Is this an IKEA type thing?
No. IKEA usually is pretty good about having instructions. No, it had all the, it was supposed to have all the required things. Like, it had the little bag of... It even had your little Allen wrench and stuff, and the bag of all the screws. Turns out there wasn't enough screws. Well, actually, I don't know, because I built it without instructions. I found myself short of 2 nuts, and I ended up just getting 2 nuts to replace them. But maybe I wasn't if they had included instructions.
I see. See, IKEA is the opposite. They give you both
and 5 extra of
and
everything,
5 extra
so
of
you're
everything.
confused.
So you're like, oh my god, did I just mess this up?
This is gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I go. Okay, well, we find out we didn't buy it from Sears, but we found out it was the frame of this futon, not the mattress, but the frame is a Sears manufactured frame.
Oh, okay.
So I go on Sears. We find it on the website.
Sure.
No instructions available to download, which is like, what year do you live in?
Right.
So Then I go, oh,
Roebuck took them with him.
and this is at night, so I know I can't call like customer service.
Sure,
It's
okay.
after 5. So I'm like, okay, I'll go on this online chat thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay, first of all, does anyone believe that the person I was chatting with was named Lawson?
Lawson?
Hello, this is Lawson. How can I help you?
No.
I'm like, your name is not Lawson.
No, your name is not Lawson.
There's nobody named Lawson who works for online chat or Sears. That is not the case. That is not.
That's pretty good.
Anyway, so then I'm like, hi, Lawson. I just need, here's the model.
This is Brunswick. How can I help you?
I didn't have assembly instructions. Is there a link or something? Can you send me some assembly instructions? Oh, one moment. I'd be happy to help you. Okay. And then they're like, ask me a couple questions about it. And I'm like, yeah, that's all correct. That's it. Okay, let me go look. I'll be right back. And I'm like, oh, this is sounding promising. Like
Sure.
They actually know what I'm talking about.
They're going into a room
Like it's not a discontinued product. Like they know.
Right.
They found the product. And then I wait 10 minutes. And then they come back and just go, oh, you're going to have to call our technical number.
What?
I'm just going to have to direct you to this.
Why?
Because they're a waste of time.
What was the whole
This
point?
is not the only time.
What have you been doing for 10 minutes?
I don't know what they did for 10 minutes. Went and had a coffee.
Right, they're out back
Talked
smoking
with
a cigarette.
Talked with their coworkers about how Heroes is coming back. I don't know what they did.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
But I've had this happen before, and so I just every time I'm like, oh, this will be great because I don't actually want to talk to a human. I don't like people.
Right. I know.
So I'm like, great. I can just online chat with someone and get my problem solved. Awesome. Every time.
No.
Every single time. They always end up being like, you got to call this person. Like, why don't you just do away with that? And then I left wondering, are you a person? Are you like in India?
Right.
Or are you not even a person? Are you just an AI?
Just an AI.
That's just supposed to string people along for 10 minutes and then tell them to call the real number, which is also like right below that you can get online help. I don't know.
That's fantastic. It's all a ploy to make you feel like you're being helped.
Yeah, if you ever come across this, I advise avoiding it.
Okay, so no group chats.
No, don't do that. It's a waste of your time.
Yeah. I've never tried to use one. I know that they exist, but I have never tried to use one because I don't have the same problem that you have. I'll just call the people. I always want to talk to a person.
Well, it's nice because supposedly it's 9:00 at night. I should be able to get help still via the online chat.
Yeah, you can't though.
Because otherwise I gotta wait till tomorrow.
Right. No,
which
I
is Sunday. That. So then I'm like left with a half-built futon till Monday. So I'm like, well, that's not gonna work.
Right. No, I hear that. I do, but you didn't get one.
No, I just built it and then found extra screws and put them on.
Which you could have done.
Which is what I ended up doing, but it was like, I would have liked to assemble it correctly.
Right.
I don't know who's going to sleep on this first, but maybe they'll end up on the floor halfway through the night. I don't know. Maybe we'll end up on the floor halfway through this podcast.
You just turned a futon into a Venus man trap.
We're really the first people to sit on this couch, so maybe it won't make it through
If you hear a crash at some point,
we'll make it through this podcast.
If all of a sudden you hear a crash, and all of a sudden it sounds like we're talking from over here, just know that the futon fell apart.
Has failed, and that's the end of the podcast.
We'll try to play some music just to wrap it up.
Yeah. So
yeah.
That happened.
Well, I'm sorry. That's Sears, get it together.
Yeah, it's what?
There was a goat that just flashed on your computer.
Oh.
And it scared the Jesus out of me. But you were talking about things coming back because 24 is coming back.
I like that there was just a Jesus in you that it scared.
It did.
You didn't say but Jesus?
No.
You just scared the Jesus.
Scared the Jesus. I said that, yeah.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Yeah, there's a bunch of shows coming back that maybe some should and some shouldn't.
Right, because 24 is coming back.
That one should.
Yeah,
I'm for that.
I've never been a huge follower of 24, but
I have. I don't get it though because it's not coming back in a 24 episode run.
That's what cracked me up. You're doing 12.
Yeah, I was like,
so,
are they
so
2
it's not
hours?
Gonna be boom, boop.
Yeah,
it's gonna be beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop.
Yeah, everyone gonna talk at double speed and stuff so that it can be accurate. Yeah. I don't get that. Maybe it's just gonna be a 12-hour 24.
Well, it's gonna have a surprise twist.
If it doesn't,
at the 12th hour, they're like, in 24 hours, we just caught him.
Well, if it's not quote unquote real time, then what's the point of it?
Well, that was
that's
supposed
the
to
whole
be the
gimmick of the show,
right?
And what made it fun in the later seasons to be like, yeah, right, you can't drive from LAX to downtown in 10 minutes. That's,
right.
That's crap.
Right. So yeah.
That.
But Heroes.
just offensive. It's just offensive.
That Heroes is coming back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a show that absolutely nobody wanted.
I didn't know anybody was upset when that show went off the air.
Nobody was. Everyone was like, oh.
Everyone was upset at the end of the first season of that show.
Yeah.
When they were like, what the hell? And then the second season started and they were like, what?
What?
What are you doing? That show was okay. Now it's awful.
Yeah.
And then it dragged on for another 2 seasons.
Well,
and then they're like,
okay, I watched the entirety of the first season of that show.
Yeah, I did too.
Because I was.
It was good.
I was intrigued
it just
by the
didn't
premise.
Pay off at the end.
But towards the end of the first season, I was a little bit like, all right, I watched 45 minutes of show and 1 minute of stuff happened.
Well, right. Yeah.
Okay. Which I don't respect.
That's what happens on The Walking Dead now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't like it when that happens.
Yeah.
But then, right, at the end of season 1, you were just like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
What is happening?
That's the end?
That's how you're going to end the first season?
You're going to build up to this?
I'm not excited about season 2.
And then season 2 was awful.
And then season 2 was just like, hey, remember how much you didn't like that? Well, here's some more.
And then season 3 was awful.
I didn't make it to season 3.
I did. And then everyone was like, boy, this is crap. I hope they don't renew this. And they're like, yeah, no one's watching it, so we're not going to.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, they're like,
hey,
remember
when you liked this?
Remember when you used to like this? No,
I'm like, no, I don't.
I only remember it being ruined.
Yeah,
that's all I remember.
I remembered liking half of a season, and then went on for. I
actually remember feeling stupid for ever liking it because. No, I do, because when you really think about the premise of that show, there was no way there was a satisfactory way for them to end it.
No,
there was nowhere it could go that would be good, that would be satisfying. Well, so why did I ever like it? I should have never liked it because I should have known that this is going to be a disappointment no matter what. Because how do you end this if they don't save the world?
Well, see,
then I'm
no,
pissed.
my problem
if
is
they do save the world, the show's over.
Right. Well, see, this is the problem. NBC likes to do these high concept shows.
Yeah, and they never work.
Where the premise is one that is a movie.
Right, like they did The Event.
Right.
And you were like, how is this going to stretch for...
It can't.
For more than one series. Maybe you've planned out a season, but how's it go beyond that?
Right.
Yeah.
And what they should have done with Heroes is not do that. What they needed to do with Heroes is just do the X-Men, but don't call it X-Men.
Yeah.
You know? Establish some good guys, establish some bad guys, and both of them are not being liked by the mass public because they can do weird things.
Yeah.
And then you have a whole show, because then you can do whatever you want. You haven't set up an end game in your first episode. Don't do that.
Yeah. But the other weird thing is that they're like, it's coming back for a special like Heroes miniseries, but it's 13 episodes. I'm like, that's one season of a show.
Yeah.
Like nowadays with cable stuff, that's one season of a show. That's not a miniseries. That's you hoping that
people want to watch it.
It comes back.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like maybe here's my Hollywood insider guess.
Okay.
At what happened.
Okay.
Heroes. They greenlit the first episode, the pilot of Heroes, and everyone was like, "This is the greatest thing ever," and like it was huge the first season. They probably signed Tim Kring to like some sort of contract, like you get first look for a million things. Well, he's done nothing,
right?
And then he was like, "They're like, what
else do you
know? You owe us a bunch of ideas." And he's like,
"I got one.
Heroes Reborn."
See what I did there?
See what I did?
I added the reborn.
I added a word. It's not the same show.
It's not the same show. It's a totally different show.
And somebody there's like, yes.
And somebody went, oh my God.
It's been long enough. We can do this.
So wait, you want to do Heroes
again,
but you want it to be reborn?
Yeah.
I will give you a lot of money.
I will pay you all the monies. That's what had to have happened.
I believe that you're correct.
I'm like, how does after that fail? I mean, I guess because I could see them being like, you know what? Maybe that show didn't pan out, but it was very successful. So we'll give you another look if your new idea, Tim Kring.
Right.
But I haven't seen his new idea.
No.
So I feel like is this the only idea?
This is the one.
Just X-Men, not called X-Men.
Yeah.
Done poorly. Sorry if you like Heroes. I just really, really crapped on it, but
yeah, but
it went so south.
Correct.
It was not bad. The first season was not bad.
I was excited by the idea.
It went so far south.
Yeah. Like, I'm surprised that Revolution is still on.
I don't get that one, but from the people I know that watch it, it's nothing like the first 4 episodes.
Oh, really?
Because I only watched the first 2 or 3, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
And now apparently it's good now because they've completely changed what the show's about.
Oh, okay. Which you'd have to.
You'd have to, because that had such a limited
that was a
concept.
movie idea.
I didn't get that one. I'm still not going to watch
I've
it.
seen an episode. beyond that. But
Yeah.
it seemed a little soap opera-y,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to me personally.
What's the one lady from Lost still on it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't watch Lost.
Yeah.
I didn't like Lost.
Yeah.
Lost was one of those shows where when I was sitting on the couch watching Lost and I was like, what is going on here? Which is how you're supposed to feel. Lost is not just the title of the show.
Yeah.
It's a state of mind.
It's the audience.
It's how you feel watching it.
I know, and there's so many people who've self-deluded themselves into thinking that they weren't lost.
No, I know, but they were. Everybody was lost.
And then when you really talk to them, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're not supposed to." And I'm like, "What kind of
idea
presentation
is
is this where you're supposed to just enjoy not knowing what's going on?"
Right.
Like, ask any of the classic authors if that's a good idea.
Right. Yeah, Stanley Kubrick. Ask.
Wait a minute.
No.
Is he pulling strings behind Lost? No.
I think so. No. At least, I mean, I'm not. No, Stanley Kubrick is not in the same category as Lost. He's way better than Lost.
It is.
Yeah,
it's true.
And you know how I feel about Stanley Kubrick, and I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it was when I was sitting on the couch, and it was ridiculous stuff going on, and my brother goes, "You see something moving in the woods?" And my brother goes, "It's a polar bear," and we all laugh.
And then it was.
And it was a polar bear. I turned off the TV and I never watched Lost again.
Yeah.
So it's not we're going to discuss TV actually later on today.
Yes.
We have a new segment.
Yeah.
So
that could be covered at some point because I'm not against going back in time.
Yeah, me neither. I'm just saying I have some pretty strict. I hold television to a high standard. I'm not a fan of bad TV.
Yeah, or being lost.
Or being lost while watching a show consistently.
No, it's not good.
No.
All right. Do we have any business to attend to? Just the normal plugs, right?
Right. Go look at it.
Facebook.com/FITB Podcast.
Thing.
And enter the contest.
Yeah.
Also, tell your friends. That's the most important thing you can do. Actually, I don't really care if you get a free movie ticket from us. If you tell your friend, that's actually better.
Right. If you get someone else to listen to it.
If you get someone else to listen, then you're the best listener.
Yes.
Also,
go to youtube.com.
youtube.com/FITB Films is where everything is. Fillintheblankfilms.com.
You can always find everything
all
there.
the episodes there, but you've got your iTunes feed with the most recent 10, and you've got Stitcher and all that.
Go check it out. We're giving you all the ways to listen.
Please tell a friend and please listen.
So go tell a friend, make it happen.
Yeah.
Because
you're nice.
We like you.
Yeah.
And we want more people like you.
Yeah. That's it.
And doggone it, you're good enough.
People like you. All right. Here's our topic.
Oh.
Boy, we got your topic today. Topic today to tell you.
That's right.
Yeah. I actually heard Golden Slumbers on the radio the other day.
Yeah, that make you happy?
It did. It made me really happy. It made me so happy.
All right, so what is our topic today?
Well, our topic today, we're going to be discussing the either second major or minor that you can get that maybe would really well complement a film major. So if you're in film school right now, you're getting your film major, you're studying the films, what should you be doing with the rest of your time?
Right.
In college.
Right.
What should be your minor? What should be your, if you are the extra industrious type, what is your second major?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So what what was your minor or second major?
My minor was history.
Ah.
I don't know that that's particularly useful to a film student.
I think it can be. It depends on what kind of films you like to
make. I
think
any minor is useful just because it's a little bit broader education that you get.
Well, see, and that's
in general. And I don't know.
As we've said before, films. Yeah. It's your job as a film school student to have a broad knowledge about everything because you're trying to tell stories
about everything.
About everything. But I don't know. I think a history minor. It gives you a wealth of stories to.
Well, that's true. I always like history, so that's obviously I like to lots of my films were historically
right, and that's what I'm saying.
In that sense, it makes you feel like maybe I have a little bit more credence in what I'm showing you on screen.
Exactly,
if I have that actual knowledge that.
Right. See, so I mean, were you making historical films because you were a history minor? Were you a history minor because you liked making?
Yes.
So then it was a good support for what you wanted to do. Because I think given your choices, you would be making a lot of historical films and a lot of science fiction films.
Yeah, probably.
Which science fiction films a lot of times are dressed up historical films.
Yes.
So
well, right.
Yeah.
What about you?
I actually had a second major.
Shocker.
In theater.
Shocking. Shocking.
Which I think is a good compliment to the film major, just because.
Or wait a minute. I think it's maybe more accurate to say you had a second major in film production.
Correct.
You majored in theater and had a second major in film production.
That is probably a more accurate statement. Yes, that is probably a more accurate statement.
Yeah. You were sucked into that world.
I was. I fell down. I went way down the rabbit hole.
You went down the theater rabbit hole.
I did, because I totally started in the film program.
You did.
And by the time I was done, you're right. It was not the main thing, but
that's a good one as well.
It's both a really good one and a really bad one.
It's good for the obvious things.
It's good for because it gives
knowing
you
about performances. And
correct. Correct. In terms of actually being able to talk to your fellow performers, there's nothing better.
Yeah.
In terms of having anything like to fall back on,
you've got nothing now.
I've really got nothing.
Yeah.
You at least have like a history minor where.
But let's talk about this because. Minors are nice because it's like, hey, look, I got extra education by taking, 4 or 5 extra classes.
Right.
It's a minor. It's useless.
You're right.
It's okay.
It's like saying I majored in film and I had a history hobby.
Well, yeah. Nobody cares about your minor in the work world. I think what we discussed before is that even though no one may care about your film degree, a degree is a degree.
Correct.
And that's the number one thing. The number one hurdle when trying to get a job is, do you have a degree or not? Is for certain types of jobs. Obviously, you can go work at retail, but if you want a real job, salary.
And if you want to, if you want to move up out of retail into the corporate side,
you're going to need a degree.
Correct.
And it doesn't necessarily matter what it's in. Now, obviously, if you're focused on business, then get a business degree.
Correct.
But I think that it would be more useful to get a double major. And I know that's not practical necessarily. Some of these schools are expensive. Some of them require you to go extra time in order to do that.
Right.
So obviously, it's not required. We didn't do it.
No.
But, you did.
Yeah, but that was a very special case just because I had a theater minor.
It was like an unintentional double major.
It wasn't. It was a completely unintentional double major.
Yeah.
And that was because the people in the muckety-mucks, the bigwigs at the school liked me enough to let me take the majors-only classes.
That you weren't supposed to be able to get
into. That I was not supposed to be able to get into.
Yeah.
So I ended up accruing enough credits to get that.
I would say I would recommend, I think, to anyone who's going in to double major, if possible.
If possible.
I know, especially when you get into like working on lots of people's projects and doing your thesis and stuff. That's going to be tough, especially if you have to write a thesis paper as well as produce a thesis film, because a thesis film will take up a lot of your time that's not in school.
Correct.
Like it would be consuming you just for days and nights.
Yes.
So that's the only, you got to be able to handle that workload. But if you can,
the extra cost.
Yes.
Of paying for
the extra cost of that.
Yeah.
The plus side is you have a better fallback. The downside is you're giving yourself a fallback.
Correct. Like,
I would think that if you've heard anyone in Hollywood talk about their success stories,
it's because they didn't.
It's because
they literally couldn't do anything else.
They gave themselves no other options.
Correct.
So that's kind of the practical and impractical take on it from my point of view. Is like, if you have a double major, then you can be like, you know what, this ain't working.
Right. I'm gonna go
teach
work history. I'm not
or
saying
whatever. I'm gonna go do finance for somebody.
Correct.
Because I also kind of enjoy math. If you don't have a double major because you just love film that much, then that maybe will propel you to just keep working at it until you succeed.
Because you don't have another option.
Correct. However, like you and I have said before, I would say 80%, 70 to 80% of the people who graduate with a film major do not work in film.
No.
And do not have another major.
Correct.
I'm not saying they have a bad job. But they either decided, you know what, this isn't for me,
right?
Or I don't like it, or I got this other job that I thought I was going to work part-time. Now I really like it, so I just do that because I make a good wage at it.
Right. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. Actually, no, I was thinking about this when we were preparing this, that I obviously did not give myself a fallback.
Yeah.
But you know what? I may hate my job,
Uh-huh.
which some days I do.
Some days you don't. Some days
Some
you
days,
do.
right?
Yeah.
But at least I'm actually using the skills that I got my major for.
Yeah.
So
that goat again.
Yeah, I mean, and this is not a moment that I'm pausing in the podcast to clap ourselves on the back, but I think I'm bringing it up to lend some credibility to what you just said about by not having a fallback position.
Yeah,
you kind of don't have a choice but to figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah,
and that I feel is why I feel very comfortable in selling that idea.
Yeah, that's fine with selling that idea. That's what we're doing.
That is what we are doing.
You can judge the degree of success however you want to judge that.
Right.
But that's how.
But we've done better than 80% of the people we graduated with.
If the goal was to work in the industry,
to use the skills that we got there,
then yes, absolutely.
Right, and to not have a normal 9-to-5 job.
Right, and so many people have left and gone on to other things, which is sometimes they're unhappy about, sometimes they're happy about it.
Right,
but.
Well,
and it's not good or bad. It's just
that's what I was about to say. That's what I was about to say, and I am in no way trying to be disparaging on the 80% or so who have.
We may end up there soon enough. Who
knows? Correct.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what the future holds.
Yeah.
My point is, with the reason you go to college and get a major is because you think that's where I want to do. Hopefully, you get to do it.
Right.
At least in some small way, we are doing it, and I would not discourage someone else from trying to do what we've done.
Yeah,
because you never know where it's going to take you.
Plenty of people who have had more success than me too.
Most people who are
still in.
Yes.
Yes. Of the 20%, most of them are doing better.
In the bottom 10%.
Yes. Yes, this is correct. It's true.
No, it is. It absolutely is.
And so just make yourself part of that top 10%.
Right. So we're trying. Though,
yeah,
and I like that. So I guess this is we've kind of done it backwards from the way I was going to do it, but that's fine.
Yeah.
One of the ways to think about your minor / second major is as a fallback position. Yeah. As something to do in case life implodes on you and you need to make money.
I kind of wish that I had a second major in history. I don't know that I would find myself in a different place now had I done that.
Right.
But I think that it would be...
You would feel more secure?
Yeah, I would feel like, I could always go...
Turn
that into something. I don't know that I'd ever teach, but I could turn that into something useful.
Work in a
have
museum
that,
or something?
Or whatever it is. It could just be Indiana Jones. I don't know.
That's a good plan.
I think that's a really good plan.
I like that. But he taught.
That's true. That's how he funded his excursions. It's true.
So you might want to teach, so you have some cash. And your fiancée is a librarian, which to me means that she should be going on adventures.
That's true.
Because
like Noah Wiley.
I have a belief that that's really why people become librarians, is so they can look at the secret books in the basement.
Oh yeah.
Find out about ancient tombs and then go
artifacts.
Do that.
Yeah.
So you may yet have adventures in your future. I'm just saying it is.
Yeah.
If my theory about librarians is correct, you have an exciting future.
That's true. But yeah, I don't know that I would be doing anything different, but I think I would just feel better
knowing
having
that you could,
because and maybe this is just me. Maybe it just in our world, people like to crap on film degrees.
Yeah.
And so maybe I feel like it's not worth as much as another degree because I live in that world where everyone says, it doesn't matter, can you do it or not? I don't care if you have a degree. Yeah. They say that. I don't know if they really believe that or if it does.
I think they say that because they gave up on their dream.
But
I tried to do the pretentious sniff.
It was good, yeah. That's in this just in the business is people being like, it wasn't worth anything, and I'm like, I disagree because we've already talked about what it's worth beyond.
No, but I think the reason that people think that it's worth less as a degree is because you could also have just as much success, if not more success, without a degree.
Correct.
As having one.
That's true. Yeah.
A lot of people would argue, take the money you go to spend in college and make a film.
Yeah. So, that's true.
Now, the other way that I wanted to talk about this, and my original concept for it, although I think this is actually the more important topic, the one that we just talked about, is which minors and majors do you think best complement and support your film major? Like we talked about how history, I actually do think history is, one, because you learn how stories are made, and you also learn kind of a lot about people through history. You know what I'm saying? You learn...
There's lots of material there.
Yes, there's lots of material there.
And even if it's just you learn about something that happened to an Egyptian pharaoh, you can take what happened to him and set it any. There's things like there's material for stories.
Sure,
lots of it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why I think it's a helpful thing. We talked about
acting.
Yeah,
is an obvious
the theater
one.
school.
I would argue that business
actually is probably
because it's such a freelance oriented industry. Mm-hmm. You're basically running your own business.
Yeah, you are.
And in addition to that, just knowing that a lot of the jobs in the industry are business type jobs.
Yes. Show business.
If you're not requiring yourself to have to be behind the camera or in front of the camera or something like that,
right?
Then you can. There's lots of industry.
That
jobs
is a fallback position that actually may be not a
fallback position.
Right.
They might go. We're looking for someone with a business major. You have a film major too.
Right.
Great.
Correct. That's a way that you could still work in the industry with.
Yeah.
Maybe not doing what
maybe
you
not
thought
in a creative.
But you could be that guy that I hate who tells people what's a good idea.
We're shutting it down because you ran over budget.
Right.
Or the people who tells you that's not funny, and you're like, well, you don't know anything about funny.
And then they say, actually, I also have a film major.
Yes. Exactly. And you're like, crap.
Oh, nah.
They
do. I guess
know.
It's not funny. So yeah, actually, I think I would. That was going to be my point about doing a business one. We need the people who think like us. The artists, to go get a business degree, so that we can take over the business side of things.
That's true, because there's too many business
people
running
who are just business people
who don't know what's good and what's not. Like this woman
who was saying, I read an article the other day about a woman who's saying that blockbusters are the way of the future, and that's a good thing. And what she was not taking into account at all it was complete crap. Was the artistic value of any of the products. All she was looking at was how much return you get on, financial return you get on various things depending on how much money you put into them. And,
right. And
she was saying that really blockbusters are a safer bet than doing 10 small projects because you're guaranteed something that people are going to go, you're not giving them
X amount of money.
Right. Yeah. And I was like, but what you're ignoring is the fact that it may have no artistic merit. Like it may not be good.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's good in her mind.
Yeah, no. Yeah. It's all about we put this much money in, we get this much money out.
Yeah.
And that just irks me.
There's going to be somebody. There has to be someone doing that because it's a business.
Absolutely, absolutely. I am not trying to say that be one of those guys who's
I'm all for blockbusters, but why can't they be good as well?
Correct.
Like, why can't we have someone who knows what's good? I think
at this point, people understand. We like the movie Armageddon, so we're not sitting up here saying that every movie should be an indie film. Yeah. We're just saying that every movie should be entertaining. Yeah. And ideally have something to say.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't just all decisions should not just be made based on money in, money out.
I think if you're someone who's into writing, obviously an English major. I think there's something that pairs off with almost if you're emphasizing, if you want to be a cinematographer, photography. Like there's an obvious pairing for every kind of thing that you like. I think maybe the only one that doesn't really have an obvious one off the top of my head right now is editing. It's a storytelling thing, so I guess that would be creative writing-ish.
I don't know. That's also writing. You know what I would pair editing with?
What?
Music.
Ceramics? Oh.
Ceramics, yes. Just so you have something to relax.
Oh, no, music. Okay.
I was going to say music. Yeah. Because timing and things like that help so much.
Yeah.
With
but music's a tough one though because a lot of times to get into college music schools you actually have to be talented with an instrument.
Yeah. In that same way it's kind of like the theater program
or the film program where there's a barrier to business and there's no barrier to entry in the English department, the history department that you can try that. You can fail at it, but I'm not saying you won't fail. Right. But anyone can enter that that degree.
You don't have to prove your talent to become an English major.
Correct.
I mean, yeah. I mean, ideally, at some point, you should have to prove a talent to get the degree.
Yeah, at some point, you'll start failing if you have no talent, but not English. Well, English is more about knowledge than it's not creative. We're talking about creative things here.
Yeah.
Creative things, a lot of the schools, you need to prove that you actually have talent there before you can even get in.
Correct. But I would say that English is a good one, regardless of
no matter what
of writing. Yeah. Just because how to tell a story, which is what you're in film school to learn.
Well, and how to use, even if you're using them in a literal sense of metaphors and things like that, ways to do that subtly, and themes and all that kind of stuff that make a great film.
Correct.
Motifs and themes and stuff.
Right.
That's all English study is about.
Right. And just being well read and literate like that
Yeah.
is a good thing because it broadens your mind to the types of ideas that are out there.
Yeah.
So English and business would be two of the ones that I would highly recommend.
Yeah.
Pairing with a film degree.
Yeah.
Just in general.
I think that what's interesting is that I totally agree, and those are like some of the degrees that I think most film students would find hardest to stomach.
I agree.
Like I wish I had a business degree, but I cannot imagine
having to go through
having to
business
sit
school.
through those classes.
I know, it just sounds like the reason is because I chose to be a film major. Because I really didn't want to do that.
Yes. Exactly. So we're telling you right now.
Right. No, and we understand that.
Yeah.
Do one that you hate.
We didn't do it. So
no.
We're giving you advice.
Do as I say, not as I did.
Yeah, we're giving you hindsight advice.
Yes. But realistically, those would have been the most helpful.
Yeah.
To what we're trying to achieve now. Especially, like you said, the business.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, correct, the number one reason that I did not do that is because I can't. Like, the whole reason I became a film major, so I wouldn't have to go to business school or.
Yes.
Yeah. The only one I was thinking from the other side is like pre-med.
What do you do with that?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think there's any connection between.
No, I mean that's the interesting thing to me. If I hadn't done film, I probably film history or likely a science is what I would have liked to go into.
Yeah.
But I don't know that going into the sciences really has
any
value in as far as complementing.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There's really no crossover there.
Well, unless you want to be a chemist and you want to go into processing, but that's going away. So correct. I would not recommend going into film processing as a career.
Right, with the rare exception of Michael Crichton.
3 people at Technicolor that still do it.
Right. With the rare exception of Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
Very few doctors became blockbuster filmmakers.
Yeah. All right, cool.
So take that for what
I
it's
think
worth.
There's something of value to be given there.
Please, yeah. And please, I guess my ultimate thing on this would be think ahead. Because you're going to be poor.
When you're done.
How are you going to make it work out?
Yeah.
That's what you got to think about.
Yes. All right. New segment here. So there's no jingle as of yet because the inception of the segment was yesterday.
Correct. But
why don't you go ahead and describe it since you're going to be doing today's.
Okay. The idea was because we have a film report.
Yeah, the movie report.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our movie report, our report card for movies.
I guess we didn't really tease what's coming up later in this show, but yes, that's going to be the last segment of our show. Is going to be a movie report.
Movie report. Yes. And since we've come back for our pretend season 2, I've been thinking about ways to make the show better.
Yeah.
One of these was, I think we both went to a school of film and television.
That's what most of them are called. Yes.
Yeah. So I felt that we were missing on reviewing
television.
And I just want to put forth a rededication to reviews on this show.
Okay. Yes. I think that. Yeah.
Because, and the reason for this is, as we've stated in the past, I'm not a big fan, and I know you're not either, of the way reviews are written right now.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
Because they either are just...
They're too much of just like, I like this, I like that. There's not enough evidence to support anything that they're saying. Or
it's some guy trying to be as clever as he can, finding a way to tear down a movie.
Yeah.
Finding some snarky and being like, oh yeah.
They're not reviewing for the people who are reading the review.
Right. So our mission statement with our reviews is, even if we don't like it, we should be able to tell you what type of person would like this.
Yeah.
Who this movie is for.
Yeah.
Because this movie is for somebody. Somebody out there is going to like it.
Yeah.
I would imagine
some exceptions where I just don't think anyone's going to like this. It's
correct.
That bad.
I'm sure that
we probably won't review any of those though, because why would we have watched them in the first place?
Right. But we are movie advocates. We advocate for movies.
Yeah.
And that's how we're going into this. So
we're adding TV into the realm.
We're adding TV into the realm, and so I'm going to kind of walk you through this TV review.
It's similar to our movie review in that it's going to be a schoolhouse score.
Correct.
Based on some categories.
Correct. And the TV that I'm reviewing today,
yes,
is actually I'm doing a dual review.
Double.
because it's
a shift.
It's a shift, exactly. Yes. We've had this kind of momentous shift in late night from the Jay Leno, Jimmy Fallon to Jimmy Fallon at the Tonight Show and Seth Meyers at
doing the Late Show.
Right.
Or
and
the Late Show.
Just to give us some historical context here, last night was Seth Meyers' first show.
Now, Jimmy Fallon's was like Sunday, right? Or
no, Jimmy Fallon's
Monday?
was last Monday.
Oh, it was a week ago. Yeah,
it was a week ago.
Yeah.
So I've seen.
Oh, but it was on. It was only the only show on because of the Olympics.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So I have now seen both Jimmy Fallon's debut and his first week.
Yeah.
And I've now seen Seth Meyers' opening
show. And
I really wanted to talk about this because I know you don't follow the late night shows as much. I really do. But for two reasons. One, nostalgic factor.
Yeah.
It was a big deal to me that, my dad let me stay up late sometimes and watch Johnny Carson with him.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the very last Johnny Carson show because he was like, this is kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I also remember seeing the very first Jay Leno show where my dad decided to start watching David Letterman. So I have been following these shows.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I was not a big fan of Jay Leno.
Yeah.
And this is not just because my dad was not a big fan, but having grown up and then decided to watch it myself. It wasn't like I thought he was doing bad. I just liked David Letterman more. He was funnier to me. And then Craig Ferguson is on after David Letterman, and he is very funny. Yeah, he's very, very funny to me. And
I liked Craig Kilborn, but I'm like one of two people.
You are, and I am not the other one.
I know.
I do not like Craig Kilborn.
I know.
That guy's an ass.
That's why I liked his show.
Right.
Because I was like, he's such an asshole. It's awesome.
And I know you liked it. There's one other, the other person out there who likes the Craig Kilborn show is Craig
Kilborn. He loves it. He loves it.
Yes. So it's you and him. But I've always been interested in this also because, and I'm not going to name drop here, but I do have a family member who produces the Craig Ferguson, Craig Kilborn, Tom Snyder, that's the lineage there, show, who I am currently shaking my fist at. You can't see it. Okay. Because you would think being a producer on the show, I would have a better job than I do. Yeah. But,
anyways, so
I've had a long love of these shows. So this is kind of a big deal to me. When Jimmy Fallon started out getting his own show, Late Night Jimmy Fallon, I hated his show. I did not like him on Saturday Night Live.
It is much better than it was.
And I did not like his show when it started. Over the 5 years that he was doing it, he has completely won me over, and I really enjoy his show. And it became hard because I had to watch Craig Ferguson. Mm-hmm. Like I would be switching back and forth between the two. Yeah. Fun fact, you can watch Craig Ferguson in the commercials of Jimmy Fallon. You could at the time.
Now they sunk him up?
I think they sunk him up, yeah. But before, for a while, you could watch both of them at the same time, which to me was genius.
I know.
Okay, so moving
That's not what they want you to watch the commercials, though. So that's why they sunk him up.
But I didn't say it was genius for them. I said it was genius for me.
Oh, okay.
So, moving into the review, I will be reviewing both Jimmy Fallon's debut on The Tonight Show, as well as Seth Meyers' debut on Late Night with Seth Meyers.
Yes.
Okay. So the first area I want to talk about is the tech.
Right, so let me just real quick, we're going to have, our movie review, we have 4 categories and then a final score. In our TV, we're going to have 3. It's going to be talent, meaning the actors involved or the host or whatever, right? There's going to be technical, which is are the sets nice? The technical stuff. That's and the reason these are a little bit broad is because there's late night shows, there's sitcoms, there's dramas, there's a variety, so we need to be able to cover them with the certain things. And then we've got entertainment value, which is the most important to me. Like, and that's kind of, is it what it's supposed to be? Is if it's a comedy, am I laughing?
Right.
And then we've got our final score, which we'll get to.
Correct. Okay, so starting with the tech.
Yeah.
Dealing with the late night show, obviously, it's a pretty standard,
they're always
3 camera,
the same
2 camera
kinda,
setup.
Yeah, similar sets always with curtain.
Right. But the sets are the area that I actually want to talk about. Because the shooting style, I mean, they look
like
high
those
definition.
Shows.
They look like the shows you've always seen.
Yeah.
But the sets, I had actually. This is why the main area that I'm judging the tech on in this. Aside from the tech being maybe the special effects they might do for a segment or the little graphics and stuff like that, which are pretty minor.
Yeah. These shows are pretty cheap to produce. That's why they do them every day.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of these new sets, because they both got brand new sets, I give Jimmy Fallon's set an A.
Okay.
I really like the set, especially when compared to Jay Leno's. Jimmy Fallon's is all like this kind of honey-colored wood, and he has a nice little area for his band, and he has a nice desk, and then the backdrop is like it looks like a model of New York is built. A lot of times they have just like a backdrop.
Does he do it out of New York, or is it out of here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, he moved for the first time in 40 years that the Tonight Show's been back in New York. It started in, I know you don't. It started in New York.
My feelings about New York have been well documented.
And then in 1974, Johnny Carson, he was doing it in New York.
He brought it
Johnny
out here.
Carson moved it out here.
Yeah.
And it's been out here ever since. And now Jimmy Fallon has moved it back.
Okay.
I don't have an opinion on
either way on
that.
Yeah.
Some people are really excited because it's tradition. It started in New York. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Other people here are like, but now it's a California thing, and I'm like,
well, the only problem is that's New York is the B filmmaking city. So basically, you're going to be more limited on your guests. But now they're all in New York except for Craig Ferguson, right?
Yeah.
So that'd be the best if he just got all the best guests. 'Cause they were like, I just want to walk over there. I don't really.
Yeah, but see, a lot of movie stars live in New York. Like
that's true, but
even though
they all live here too.
They all live here too. No, I understand that. I understand.
Yeah.
I don't think
it doesn't. It's not going to have a huge.
The Tonight Show.
It's not going to be an issue.
Right.
Anyways.
Either way, I really like the set. He has the models of the New York buildings
Yeah.
behind him. They're actually like wood or something. They look really classy. I
Yeah.
think. So I really, really appreciate that. It compared to say Jay Leno's set, which was much more like flashy and lights, and this feels a lot smaller.
Okay.
And more intimate. The audience feels like it's right up in there, and that it's just we're all just in this nice little intimate space where you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It has a real warm feel to it. It doesn't feel quite as flashy as the Tonight Show before him.
Yeah.
But it does feel warmer and more intimate, which I like.
Yeah.
Seth Meyers' set, it's fine. It didn't strike me as much. I gave it a B.
Yeah.
It's a fine set, but it wasn't as striking to me as, and this could just be a personal taste thing, as Jimmy Fallon's set. Talent. I give talent. Jimmy Fallon gets a B in this, despite the fact that I really like him. Where Seth Meyers actually, this is the one area that I give him an A.
Oh, really? Was he good?
He was stiff. It was his first night.
Yeah.
It was stiff at the beginning. But the one thing that these shows are about, which is interviewing.
Yeah.
And that is actually Jimmy Fallon's worst arena.
His stuff is funny when he does his bits and all that.
Correct.
That's the best part that he does.
Correct.
When he gets up there and sings or whatever, or he has the little pre-edited whatever,
yeah,
the games
or he
whatever.
plays games and stuff like that. That's why I enjoy
his
him.
interviews are pretty white sauce.
Yeah. Versus actually, Seth Meyers had Amy Poehler and Joe Biden as his first guest. And at never any point did it seem like we were going over the scripted points.
Yeah.
It just seemed like he was having a conversation with these people.
That's
and
good.
We were like, things were coming out. And he's like, Joe Biden, why'd you call LaGuardia a third world airport?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And I don't know. That was actually the best part of his show.
Okay.
Was the interviews, which I was glad to see.
Yeah.
Especially since I think that's Jimmy Fallon's weakest area.
Yeah.
So I give the talent a B for Jimmy Fallon because he does a lot of funny stuff. But
what about the bands? Because often I hate the bands more than anything on these shows.
Okay, Jimmy Fallon has the best band in late night because he has the Roots. They are just awesome.
But what about that guy who stands behind a podium that he talks to?
Oh, that guy's hilarious.
You like that guy?
I like Steve Higgins. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's very funny to me.
Okay.
And he seems to know about the right time to just throw in.
Okay. I've only seen. I don't watch it regularly.
Right.
So.
Right. I do, and I really.
And what's Seth Meyers' deal with the live band or whatever?
He has Fred Armisen running.
Oh man, that's already funny to me.
And it was actually
already funny to me.
Like, cause he was just coming up with weird jokes and
really that guy's just so off. Like his humor is so out there.
Yeah, and it really worked.
I might have to watch this show.
Just because Seth Meyers kind of transplanted his.
Because all I can think of is Portlandia.
Yeah, and. Seth Meyers transplanted his kind of news character from SNL. So having Fred Armisen over there, like Fred Armisen did a whole little bit right at the beginning. He was like, "Hey, how's it going, Fred?" He's like, "Oh, it's great. It's got a new show called Recent History on the History Channel. And he's like, well, what's that about? He's like, it's just the stuff that's happened in like the last like hour or so. He's like, well, when is it on? He's like, well, it's either on at 6 or 7 in the morning, depending on what the History Channel wants to do. Like, it was like the most deadpan, ridiculous. It was very, very funny. So I'm not sure how it really works as a band. I mean, they seem to work fine. They don't come off as quite as cohesive as the Roots. Like the Roots is just a band.
That's just a band and
they're kicking ass. But we'll see how it works out.
Okay.
Entertainment value, I give Jimmy Fallon an A because he just transplanted the show that I liked.
Yeah.
Brought it to the Tonight Show, and it's been working. His guests, when his guests buy into his interviews, then it becomes something fun.
Yeah, he's looking. I think he's not looking for anything interesting in his interviews. He's looking to create something funny.
Correct.
And it doesn't always work.
And the reason I say entertainment value is A for Jimmy Fallon is because he understands the fact that the Tonight Show is no longer about who's watching right now.
Yeah.
It's I need to create bits that will go viral tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's how we'll keep this going because
that's true.
Watching live TV just isn't what it used to be.
Yeah, he needs to create these little moments that people
while he does do a very good live show, you're watching it while it's happening, that's fine. But he's also creating bits that you can cut up and post on YouTube.
With Jimmy Kimmel, that's how Jimmy Kimmel got to where he got.
Right.
By doing that.
Exactly.
And he still does that.
And I think that's smart. And I think that's what they were looking for the Tonight Show. And that's what they got.
Yeah.
So in terms of, is it what it's setting out to be?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Entertainment value for Seth Meyers, I'm giving him a B right now because it seemed a little staid. It seemed a little like, loosen up, Seth.
Then hopefully he will.
That is a B that is probably going to change because now we get to my final report, which is we give it a final grade. Tune in. This is a show to watch.
Yep.
Tune out. Don't watch this crap. Or give it 3.
Yeah.
Meaning it could be good.
Watch a couple, see if it gets good. If it doesn't, then don't bother.
Right. It didn't completely sell me, but
it's got potential.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously with Jimmy Fallon's new Tonight Show, I say tune in.
Okay.
I'm excited by it. I think he brings back a certain level of kind of class. I mean, obviously nobody. I don't even know if we should be making comparisons to Johnny Carson anymore because he hasn't been in there for a while.
It's not even the same format almost.
Right. But I think he brings a certain enthusiasm that Jay Leno never had. Jay Leno was always kind of and always played it safe.
Yeah.
Versus Jimmy Fallon's not afraid to push a few things.
Okay, good.
So I like it. Tune in. For Seth Meyers, I think I'm giving it a give it 3, and this might actually be a case where I'm like, give it 3 months.
Yeah,
like
let him get going. Let him get a couple episodes under his belt.
I see a lot of potential. He was actually funny, if a little bit stiff.
Yeah.
He seemed nervous, which is understandable.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have anything sorted yet.
Yeah.
So give it some time.
Yeah.
But he definitely won me over with his interviews. If his bits and jokes are weak, what can you expect? It was day one.
Yeah. All right.
That's how I felt about it.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yes.
Interesting. All right, I'm gonna have to check out the Seth Meyers one because I had not.
I think you'll like just because he's a little more like
thought about it.
Huh?
I had not thought about even watching it.
Yeah, but you might enjoy it just because he's a little more like I'm gonna say something sarcastic and then look at you like, but what are you gonna do?
Right. Okay. All right. Time for a movie report. This is movie review. See?
A plus.
Yes. It's a movie report. Of the Lego Movie.
That's
of course. Did you think we weren't going to review the Lego Movie on this program?
Yeah.
Really?
Right.
You seen anything of our YouTube page? Did you really think we were going to talk about the Lego Movie?
Correct.
Don't be ridiculous.
And I think this is a good movie to review for the kind of rededication to doing movie reviews.
we're gonna try and rededicate to
because we want you to know that everything is awesome.
That's right. This movie is in fact awesome, though.
This movie is awesome.
This is probably one of the best movies I've seen in a while.
Yeah, and you have to remember it was overcoming the fact that we were not involved in it.
Yeah.
Which already made me want to be bitter about it.
And it was a Lego movie about Legos traveling to different themed Lego zones.
Right. Through a portal.
With like rainbows and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh my God.
So yeah, that's...
Side note about that real quick. Let me just get this out of the way.
Okay.
Our Lego movies, when taken as a whole...
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it, are a prequel to the Lego movie.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say that that's the way it is.
I don't really know.
We certainly didn't intend it that way,
Yeah.
but that's how it is
Okay.
now.
All right.
We made the prequel when the worlds are still separate.
Yes, that's right.
And after watching the Lego movie, you'll understand what that tunnel is.
Yes.
That Tex and Diego fall
That's
down.
right. I think like I can't help but feel like knowing what I knew about some of the behind the scenes stuff as far as
Yeah.
the creating of this movie, I did feel like somebody watched one of our movies.
I can't
right because the guys who made this were like because Lego's been making a lot of like TV and straight to video like CGI, and the Lego games are all like CGI Legos. So they've gone with that look in their marketing too.
Correct.
Is CGI looking Legos, not
the stop motion.
Not stop motion, but there's a huge, obviously, internet stop motion following.
Right.
And I can't help but think that somebody, when they were looking around, being like, "Let's watch a couple of these and get some ideas," stumbled upon one of ours. They've been on the internet almost longer than anybody else. They've been on there since like,
and they're very well thought of.
Yeah.
Lego movies.
Yeah. But self gratification aside,
no, right.
This movie is in fact all CGI, but it looks exactly like just stop motion.
Yeah,
and it's the
I
greatest
loved
thing
that
ever.
about
I'm
it.
so happy that they did that, and
yes.
I'm glad that the sequel has been greenlit.
Oh yeah,
already. And no, so let's get down to our thing.
Tech.
So we're starting with tech.
We can. I don't care. What do you want to start with?
Sure, let's start with tech since we kind of were there.
Okay.
Which I guess is the CGI.
Right. The CGI. It looks like stop motion.
It looks exactly like stop motion, and every opportunity they have to make, like, there's the one shot that you're just like, I don't even know what to look at right now because it's something that you would think, and it almost is distracting, is when they do like the big wide shot of the ocean.
Oh yeah.
There's so much movement because it's the little bricks going up and down.
And everything is made from Legos. I really like that. Even the shower water is Lego.
Even the sky backgrounds are stacked Lego bricks of white or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the water that comes out are Lego pieces. Little clear blue Lego pieces.
When the ninja appears and smoke, the little Lego smoke.
There's no like, the only thing that's really not in Legos is their mouths moving and faces talking.
Correct.
Which a lot of people do that in their Lego movies online now.
Right.
They animate the faces.
Yeah, because it's an easy way to tell a story without having to,
So I give the tech an A.
I did too.
I give it an A+, in fact.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look even the tops of all the little round things say Lego on them. It doesn't look like it's anything but stop motion. The only thing that makes you think this is CGI is the fact that some of that's probably almost impossible to do stop motion.
Right. right. Or it would take way longer to do in stop motion than it does. But they really meticulously, even down.
I mean, the lighting looks like it's lights hitting Legos,
Correct.
the shiny parts and
Correct.
stuff. It
really was made to look like Legos,
Yes.
and it was really made to look like stop motion.
And that
they didn't even do the CGI thing where limbs are moving in ways that Lego limbs can't move.
They do a little bit. They
bit.
curve in a little bit sometimes for an effect.
Right. But they really try to stay true to the way Legos move.
No, and so that was like the number one thing. As soon as I saw a trailer, I was like, oh my God, it's like, this is great. And the fact that they pay, well, let's get into the story then.
Okay. So plot.
Yeah, which I gave an A.
I gave it an A-.
Okay. Because I felt like you could have, there's a couple little things you could nitpick.
Yeah.
But
this is the only area where I felt like you could nitpick.
Yeah.
Just because at times it was seeming, the story was a little bit like, all right, let's move on. And you think, okay, we're coming to the resolution of that. And it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then we kept going.
About 2/3 of the way in, there's a little bit of not that it's not, because it's so visually stunning.
And so damn funny.
You're not complaining.
No.
But if you want to nitpick about it, you can get into a little bit of.
They could have tightened the story a little bit.
Can we tighten this up? Yeah.
But like I said, they were being so funny. Like, I don't know how I would have changed it because I would have had to cut jokes that I loved.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
No, that's the one thing about this. Like, and I think, and also I was going to say, for an animated film, just such a great story that you typically don't see unless you're watching.
And there are Shyamalan twists towards the
yes.
end. Do not let people spoil it for you because you won't enjoy. I mean, it's not that you won't enjoy the movie, but you'll enjoy it more if you just get the surprises when they come.
And those surprises also like motivate the fact that they made it look like stop motion.
Correct.
They made them look real.
and it really adds. I was surprised because when I'm not gonna tell you what the surprises were, but when the surprises happened, I had to question. Wait a minute, do I like this?
Yeah, and then when it was
and
over,
it added so much heart.
It did. It really did.
It was so well done and added so much heart that I couldn't help it.
And you know me, I don't like heart, but it added the right kind.
It really did.
Because I identified with the villain.
Yeah.
That's the kind of Lego person that I am.
Yes. This is true.
Yeah, it's as with that heart and just the storyline is I think a cut above 90% of the animated films that get made. I think this year, you know, I don't know that I would classify it as a better plot than like Frozen, because Frozen is extraordinary as well, but most everything else out there,
because Frozen is in the awards scheme for last year, this is the movie to beat.
I would, if this isn't I mean, I know it's in February, but if this is not up for best animated picture, I'm gonna go knock down somebody's door.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine. I'm sure there'll be a Pixar movie that comes out that'll be great, but I can't imagine.
Right.
I don't know.
No.
There's nothing like this.
Right.
As look wise and anything.
Right.
I also just like, and we can kind of, what'd you give character? Because these are going to kind of overlap back and forth here as we talk about it. Because we're dealing with animation, the plot and the character, we're talking about a script.
Yeah.
Basically.
I gave characters actually an A+. I
did too.
Where I gave plot the A-.
Yeah.
I gave characters A+.
I really liked all the
characters.
That's
what made this movie even more than it had a fine plot, but the characters were what made this. Characters that I never thought I would like Unikitty.
Unikitty's like the greatest thing.
Unikitty was like one of the funniest people.
So funny.
They just totally had the balls to make Batman a douchebag.
Yes.
Like, that was fantastic.
Yes. And then as someone who's played with Lego since like the late 80s, like, I just love that we had Space Guy, which I have those. I don't need to buy the new set. I have that figure.
Right.
Like in my Lego
box. And he has
box.
the split in his helmet.
Yeah, he's got the broken helmet to have just basically be like, yeah, I know we're making a film that's promoting a toy. There's a Ninja Turtle. Here's every Lego toy. Like is every series of Lego of all time.
Certainly,
the castle people are there, the city, the whatever, and then to throw in like the random. I mean, my favorite is because I have that Lego for some reason is like the Shaquille O'Neal, like the NBA All-Star team, Shaquille O'Neal.
And I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna tell you what the joke is, but Shaquille O'Neal has one of the best jokes in the entire movie.
And it's his voice too, which is great. Because I do actually. Say what you want about Shaquille O'Neal. He's up for he's such a good sport.
Yeah, he
in
really
real life
is.
As a person.
Yeah, he really is. But he has one of the best jokes in the entire movie.
He does. That I mean, you had the Gandalf. Like they even went into the license stuff. You had Gandalf.
That's what I'm saying. And
Dumbledore.
And at the same time, never did this movie at any point feel like a commercial for Lego.
No, that's the thing that they because they didn't come at it that way.
No,
they didn't throw these people in there just to please Lego. I don't think Lego, and from what I understand, Lego was very concerned that this film be very good.
Correct.
They were really worried about even making a film in the first place.
Right.
But they didn't throw these in there just for the commercialism. They threw them in because it's hilarious.
And it is.
And this movie is so funny. It doesn't matter how old you are.
That's correct.
Like,
well, there are jokes.
I've not seen a comedy this funny in a long time.
And that was going to be my overall statement about this movie. I gave it an A+.
Yeah.
Because this is the funniest movie I've seen.
The music I gave a B.
Oh, music, I gave an A-.
Okay.
Just because I started out not liking the song Everything Is Awesome.
Oh, I love Everything Is Awesome.
But the movie manages to make you feel one way about that song at the beginning and completely different it at the end. And that's that's a really intelligent
to give
thing
a song an arc.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially because they mean opposite things at opposite ends of the movie.
Yeah.
If you can take the movie Everything Is Awesome and make you feel like that is such a consumerist, awful...
Yeah.
Big business type song, and at the end make you really believe what that song is saying.
Yeah,
high five, guys.
Yeah,
you did
exactly.
a good job. And then they had little things like Batman's song.
Yeah,
that it was those moments that shot me up into A range.
Yeah, I get a B because it was there's those moments where they use the music great, but the score is a score.
Right.
There's nothing super. I mean, there's some funny parts where it like parodies Lord of the Rings and stuff like that.
Yes,
but it's not like. It's not I wouldn't say like a scholarly great piece.
No. I would agree with you. I would agree with you.
I went beyond it, but I gave the movie an A+.
I gave the movie an A+ with the statement that this is the funniest movie I've seen, animated or not, in a long time.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's no comedies that I can think of off the top of my head from the last 5-6 years that are even close to that I was laughing this hard at.
I was just laughing out loud all the time.
Well, and that's the thing to me. It's like I'm gonna laugh at Lego jokes Like when you're making jokes about like, look, it's all 80s spaceman, or look, Gandalf
Right.
and Dumbledore Legos, or Shakespeare, or Abraham Lincoln with a rocket chair. Like, but that's one that they made up. That's what I
Right.
like, is that they had the jokes about these are Legos, and they follow whatever Lego jokes or insider jokes about different older Legos. Those are funny to me, but not necessarily everyone. But they made their own situations. Like Abraham Lincoln had a rocket chair,
Right.
And they had the "Where's My Pants" TV show. Right. They just made that up, and that's hilarious.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. This is just funny to everybody, and it's definitely the type of movie that your kids can see without.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about like, oh, they're going to see something that they shouldn't see.
Yeah.
Obviously not. It's the Legos.
Yeah.
But this is the type of movie that they will see and love as little kids, and then see again as an adult and be like,
Oh my gosh.
I never
Yeah.
knew that they were making
Oh,
jokes.
the Star Wars jokes for like 15 seconds. Star Wars characters show up, and it's
Yeah.
hilarious. And it's
that
Billy
was
D. Williams. And I
that was
just
my
like,
favorite line in the
Yeah.
entire movie, which is when the Millennium Falcon shows up and Batman ditches everybody to
To go.
with
Yeah.
Lando, Han, and Chewie.
Yeah,
And he's like, "Wait, you're ditching us?" He's like, "Of course I'm ditching you. That ship looks like it's full of bon vivants."
yeah,
like, come on,
kids
kids
aren't
aren't gonna
gonna
get
get
that, but that's funny to me.
yeah. The one that I was cracking up, they have Metalbeard,
Yes,
the
the
pirate
pirate.
guy, who, okay, he wasn't my favorate character,
Right, but he was good.
except for like at the end of that movie, he was in the background blowing people away.
Yeah,
Because he has like machine gun firing dual cannons on one of his arms.
Yes.
And like every time I saw him at the end of the movie, he was just destroying it. I was like, this guy's the best.
yes. And I won't give away why I think Unikitty's awesome.
Yeah.
But let's just say that towards the end of the movie, Unikitty
Yeah.
turns into one of the funniest characters.
Oh, and then like even though it's like a total like I don't know, it's just so corny. Like the little thing at the end with like the Duplo joke
Oh,
was great. I was
Yes.
like, yes.
and perfectly well done.
Yeah, like it was just everything Lego. It was like all in here, but it was also a good message,
Yeah, actually, yes.
but so funny and well delivered message too.
Yes.
It wasn't over the head. It wasn't like I didn't know
It wasn't-
what the message was going to be. It wasn't
it
a
wasn't
surprise,
subtle, but it wasn't a bludgeon either.
yeah. So that's good for kids,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, there's the comedy factor for
Yeah, it was just
Everyone.
hilarious.
I
I
mean-
laughed so much.
Yeah.
That's the number one reason that I recommend this movie to everybody.
yeah.
Is although you know what I've also what I have noticed is that an older generation is not finding it quite as funny as we do.
Well, that's true. I mean, these are definitely
It's a fast, quick movie.
It's very
the
fast.
jokes are rapid fire.
Yes.
If you don't like this joke, just wait a second because there's another one on.
Yeah, and the movie actually does move very fast, despite the parts that we were talking about that seem to drag a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just because you're ready for the next thing.
Right.
It's not because they're not.
It moves at a breakneck pace.
Yeah, it does. So, anyways, if you haven't seen that, and it's been number one at the box office for like almost a month now.
Yeah.
It's been 3 weeks in a row. So I can't imagine that. Well, maybe you haven't because you don't have kids or something. But if you don't have kids, you should see this anyways.
All I'm saying is I went opening
Yeah.
night
Yeah.
and I don't have kids.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I can understand also the older crowd. I mean, this is for people our age and younger
Yeah.
because this is Lego's been around since the 60s, but the Lego that they're riffing on is the Lego that kind of appeared in the 80s.
Right.
It's the early 80s till
Late 70s,
to
early
now,
80s
till
to now,
now,
right.
Lego. It's not when it was just here's Legos, build something. This is like when we had themed sets and things like that. They're taking those characters. But it's also, and the other thing is, it's like, in addition to not feeling like it's marketing, it's like delivering the main marketing message of
It
Lego
really is. That's what
as
I'm saying.
its main theme.
Right.
Like, it's really interesting,
And yet, at the same time...
but it's a good message. So.
Right. I saw this. Fox News is saying... Because remember when the Muppets came out?
Yeah.
They were like, oh, this is part of Hollywood's anti-business agenda.
Oh yeah.
Now that's what they're saying about this movie, except they're saying it's even worse. 2 reasons. One, Fox News was saying that this movie is...
Oh, because his name is Lord Business.
Lord Business, and Big Business is an enemy.
is the enemy.
In this. And Fox News went so far as to defend Mr. Potter and It's a Wonderful Life, who's like one of the biggest movie villains ever, saying that this has been a huge thing, that they're always anti-business. But what makes the Lego movie worse is that the Lego movie is blasphemous.
What is that?
Because there is a reference to the man in the sky in the Lego movie.
Yeah.
And according to Fox News, this movie will teach kids to A, question the man in the sky, and B, that the man in the sky is fallible.
Well, then they didn't watch the movie.
Right?
Because they didn't watch it far enough to know what the man in the sky is.
Correct. But they were trying to say that it'll...
It has some sort of religious tone.
Correct.
It doesn't at all.
It doesn't. Exactly.
It's literally the man in the sky. You couldn't be more literal about it than that.
Yeah.
Like, that makes me mad.
Yeah.
But Fox News makes me mad.
All the time.
But we don't talk about politics on this podcast.
Not usually.
It's not what we do. All right. I think that is about it. We've gone a little bit long, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So next time we will announce the winner or non-winner of our contest.
Yep.
And we'll probably have an Oscar...
Oscar wrap-up, yeah.
Whatever you want to call it, debrief. What? What's that? What's funny about that word?
I'm a child, and you said debrief.
So, of course, as we said before, tell your friends.
Yep, tell them.
Facebook.com/FITB Podcast is where you like it and find out about the contest.
We're here waiting for you.
YouTube, fillintheblankfilms.com, all of that. So
Because we love you.
Do it. All right. See you next time.
Bye-bye.